Yo, what is up, everyone, and welcome back to another YouTube video with your host, Kenkukun. And today we got another Destiny 2 TWAB update. Now, this is a long one. This is a big one. This has to cover with the new season starting. I waited a day, and I'm going to come in and talk about it now, one day later. And I'm glad I did, because there was a couple of things that were not covered in the TWAB, but were affected in the game or changed without them stating so. And one of the two things that I just recently seen, one of the two things that I recently seen within the last 24 hours is literally a circle of nerfs and buffs. Remember, guys, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Bungie does updates and nerfs and buffs, especially in the sandbox, right? Where it's one way, they change it, and then they revert it back the other way. They've done this numerous times through the history of Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, and one of the two things I'll bring up is I believe it was survival. It was 4 lives. Then it was 6 lives last season, and now it's back to 4 lives this season. But they didn't say anything about changing it there or why they changed it or any thoughts. Nothing. It was just boom. All right, we're just gonna make it. I don't know if they're just gonna flip flop, right? But this is Bungie's, like, they're going based on data, but what data? Why? I would love to know the reason why. To me, it didn't really matter. Some people said, oh, well, survival lasts too long with too many lives, and then you remove lives, and it's like, oh man, my teammates ate every single life. I don't get one of them. And then we lose. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The other one was that Eyes of Tomorrow somehow got nerfed unintentionally. We're not surprised when updates come out and it's Destiny. things break. And what we think would be irrelevant to the update, things break. But we're not developing the game. We just gotta, we gotta give our feedback. We need to, the good and the bad, and try to keep it as tame as possible. Bungie needs to communicate with us and give them their feedback. And, they want to vent. Well, I assume they'll just vent among themselves instead of us, but also try to bring us into an understanding viewpoint where they won't get in trouble for anything they say. But at the same time, just, everyone that would get upset probably can go kick rocks. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive into the TWAB now that we covered that 3-minute disclaimer. I'll briefly go over some of the things they did. So there is a new landing zone in Europa. Cool. The Reverie Dawn armor set is being reissued with new max power cap and combat style mod socket. Waking Vigil, Vouchsafe, Retail Tale, and Sleepless Weapons have been reissued with new perk pools and max power cap. Dreaming City weapons that have reached their max power caps will no longer drop once you have obtained the item once, allowing collectors to fill out their collections while ensuring that subsequent item drops remain usable in difficult activities. And then a bunch of, fix issues. Now, I kind of perused them, and it didn't seem like anything like too crazy that we needed to look at. And then Cosmodrome fixed issues there. Tangle Shore fixed issues there. The Moon, Dreambane armor sets coming back. All 3 Altar of Sorrow weapons are coming back. Same thing as what was stated above. And then fix some bugs. A Nexus, fix some bugs. EDZ, public events, bug fixes, strikes, bug fixes, right. Crucible tokens and Crucible token gifts are now depreciated. Crucible Valor rank rewards are now visible on Lord Shaxx. Maps, now they fix issues with maps. We'll cover these. Bannerfall, fix an issue where the Bannerfall Crucible map would sometimes display the incorrect name. I can't say I've ever seen that. Burnout Wormhaven in Midtown. Map music would play too early during load screen. Some people would be like, yo, did anyone hear the music? We're still in orbit, right? I thought it was just because, they sunset they vaulted a lot of destinations, and it just made loading on PS4 and, of course, PS5 faster. And we just heard the music earlier. So, but apparently there was an actual audio bug. Radiant Cliffs fixed out of environment issues. We shall see about that. Twilight Gap, where people could get caught on invisible geography. They fixed that. I can't remember if I ran into that. And then Exodus Blue, Javelin 4 Fragment, Midtown, and Dead Cliffs. Now, I knew about Exodus Blue and I knew about Fragment fixed out of environment issues. Now, when they say out of environment issues, I'm hoping it means people going out of bounds, right? And they fix that. Now, when they've fixed things like that in the past, they've specifically said fixed an issue where players would be able to get outside of the intended playable area. The fact that they're not using that wording is just, bro, are you trying to sound confusing? Are you trying to, kind of like sidestep that you didn't fix it, but you just got to fix some issues, but it wasn't real issues? We'll know as the season goes in, as all the players that started Destiny 2 yesterday, right after the update, and everyone else going forward in the season. We'll call the player base the game testers at this point. They will find out for everyone else. Gambit Infamy rank rewards are now visible on the Drifter. The raids. Raid reward sources now include masterwork materials as follows: tab scores prisms. These are on a weekly lockout per chest. And Ascendant shards are obtainable via a reward from weekly director challenges, and requires players to complete all encounters of the featured raid before paying out. So you can't just do checkpoints, is what it sounds like right there. Last Wish issues and challenges, encounters and challenges should now award the intended standard XP amounts, fix a bunch of issues. Garden of Salvation issue, Deepstone Crypt. Atrix health bar should exhibit less rubber banding behavior. Free roam scanner augment will now be removed from players when starting the first raid encounter. Okay. And then they updated a bunch of dungeons: the Shattered Throne, Pit of Heresy, the Prophecy dungeon. I haven't ran a lot of these. I'll let you guys go over these yourselves, because there's a lot of sandbox down here that I didn't really get to reading, so we're going to definitely read those. General bug fixes, general UI, UX fixes, Eververse economy. Weapon and armor ornaments will no longer be gated on player entitlement state. Weapon and armor ornament tooltips in the store now clearly indicate when a parent item is not owned. And now we come to the sandbox. Now let's go over this as quickly as possible, because there is a lot here. So, sandbox abilities. Fix an issue where certain arc and solar grenades could apply their hit visual FX to animated doors and floor. Okay. Fixed an issue where using Shiver Strike near stasis crystals could send you into the stratosphere. I don't know if I've seen that. I don't know if it's sending the person using Shiver Strike, or if it's sending the person that's getting hit with Shiver Strike near stasis crystals, right? Anyway, fix an issue where using certain abilities near stasis crystals could push you through a closed door. Now, I remember that was a thing with Raid, so I guess they fixed that. I think they fixed the raid earlier, and then they fixed that, the Actrix raid. Or now it's finally fixed. Hello, mouse. Can you not, fly around? Fix an issue where Sunbreakers would trigger Roaring Flames with solar sword kills. Fix an issue where Sentinel Shield's single attacks via heavy attack input did not consume super energy. I hope somewhere there's hit registration for that Sentinel, by the way. Fix an issue where players could be damaged by the shatter of their own stasis crystal if the opponent had Whisper of Fissure equipped. Fix an issue where players could be damaged by the shatter of their own stasis crystals if the opponent... Does that mean the opponent can no longer shatter our ice and kill us? They have to... It must be their own ice? That's pretty big. Fixed an issue where Wormhusk Crown and Vesper of Radius would trigger their perks upon breaking out of stasis. Wow. That's actually... Wow. And assuming that occurred all the time, that was pretty powerful for Wormhusk. Fixed an issue where Dustfield grenades can freeze stasis crystals and barricades. Okay. Improved reliability of Frost Pulse aspect when enemies were on different elevations. All right. And we'll have to go in and cover exactly what Frost Pulse aspect is, because that looks like something new. While using Jumper or Cold Shoulders, Glacial Quake Super Melee attack is now also mapped to L2 or left trigger L2 for accessibility. Decrease the height at which Glacier grenades will launch the player who threw them. Duskfield grenades can now kill to prevent players from using it to continuously trap others in stasis. Finally, I thought Duskfield grenades should be killing people from a long time ago. And I thought it was pretty stupid that they didn't, so that is a plus. Ice Flare Bolts no longer grants grenade energy when shattering a frozen target. Ensure the Ice Flare Bolts correctly tracks the number of Seekers created before going on cooldown. Alright, Stasis Freeze Breakout. Now here we go. When playing with a controller, the input for breaking out of Stasis Freeze is now double press B/circle for all classes. Okay. The controls for the breakout action can be changed via controller remapping. Stasis Freeze. Increase the damage frozen players can take before shattering from 100 HP to 200 HP. Alright? So we're going to be a little bit tankier when we're frozen. When frozen by stasis, players now take 50% less damage from primary auto weapons. All right, so they also want to make it harder for us to kill people that are frozen. All right, so this is probably where resilience might actually make a difference, but at the same time, we shall see, especially when you could just shatter dive something. So we will see. When frozen by stasis, players now take 50% more damage from special ammo weapons, heavy ammo weapons, and non-stasis abilities. So it's kind of like a barricade shield from a Titan. They want you to use special weapons. Primaries are gonna sure, I suppose so. Note, we're planning a more in-depth abilities tuning pass. We're planning a more in-depth abilities tuning pass, but in the meantime, we've implemented this change to increase players' chances of surviving being frozen. It is true. Before this update, and we'll see what happens before this update, you got frozen, it was just pack it up, go on home. It was probably over for you. When frozen by stasis, AI combatants now take 5% less damage from primary ammo weapons and 5% more from special. Okay, I don't know. I guess the AI were complaining about this too. Withering Blade no longer does critical headshot damage. Really? All right. Increased base damage from 60 to 90. Melee lunge range reduced by 1 meter when Withering Blade is charged. Allows players to more reliably use Withering Blade when up close. Now, I believe that is the hunter melees, the shurikens. I kind of said when Stasis came out that I felt like the hunter melee should probably do more damage, and I think if you throw 2 instead of freezing someone, they should just outright kill them. And that's just how I felt about it. So I don't know if it's gonna 290 melees are gonna one-shot someone. I think that's 180 health. I believe that's what Guardians have, right? So I would like to think that I would like to think that they're, hunters are over there killing people. Now, can you just throw 2 shurikens and kill a team of 3 or 6? God, I hope not. So we'll see. It no longer does critical headshot damage, but the base damage just goes up. So no matter where you throw it, and it was a pain to get headshot damage. Sometimes I would throw it right on someone's head, and they would just say normal damage, and I just walked away. Handheld Supernova reduces self-damage from 100% to 25%, so a little buff for Nova Warps. And then Armor, reduce the cost of Deepstone Crypt Parade mods significantly. Yep. All right, weapons. Catalysts for the following weapons have had their sources and objectives updated to not be associated with vaulted content. Bad Juju, Izanagi, Sleeper Simulant, The Huckleberry, World Line Zero, Polaris Lance, Telesto, Legends of Acrius, and Skyburner's Oath. Fix an issue with Sturm's exotic perk. Sturm will once again reload any equipped special slot weapon on kill provided the special weapons clip isn't already full and there's available reserve ammo. Full weapon kills or multi-kills no longer incorrectly progress the fusion rifle calibration bounty. Fix an issue that was preventing Merciless from increasing its charge rate on non-lethal kills. I believe we covered this somewhere else. Exotic perks, Jade Rabbit, Ariana's Battle Cold Art perks not trigger when shot through a Titan's Rampart barrier, and Mulligan activating on hits when used with anti-barrier rounds. Fix an issue that caused Line in the Sand to have broken gear and play the wrong reload animations. Fix an issue causing Thunderlord and possibly other weapons to not render their scope and or reticle. And then here comes the weapon archetype changes that we probably covered in the past, but we'll cover them very briefly. We'll just speed read over them as fast as I can speed read. So rocket launcher, increase rocket launcher damage by 30% against mini boss tier enemies and above. Exotic rocket launchers have now been adjusted individually and are affected by this change to different degrees. Fusion rifles. Fusion rifle damage. Increase the fusion rifle damage fall off start distance by increasing amount based on range. 6% with 0 range, 16% with 100 range. Reduce camera movement from firing a fusion rifle by 9.5%. Breach grenade launcher. Projectiles will now detonate on impact with enemies, even if holding the trigger. Submachine gun. Reduce camera movement from firing an SMG by 24%. On pulse rifles by 7%. On machine gun by 9.5%. Scaled flinch from damage from other players while aiming a sniper rifle by 1.6%. I would love to see how this is going to play out. Can't wait to hopefully not just I'm shooting you in the head and you just hit me. I really hope this affects Arbalest, but I highly doubt it. Sword. Damage against mini-boss tier enemies and above reduced by 15%. Perks. Demolitionist. Added a short cooldown on the reload effect. And then the mouse and keyboard recoil scalers. Oh, man. So, nobody's seen this coming. Nobody talked about this, but they got to try and bring it into balance for crossplay, which they still plan on doing by the next big DLC this fall. And will this fall's big DLC be in November, or will it be, I think it was September is when it normally was happening. I don't know if Destiny's ultimately switched their schedule, but they haven't announced it, nor have they not said it wasn't going to do that anymore. So I'm going to assume November is the big update. Mouse and keyboard recoil. Raise the recoil scaler on mouse and keyboard. Previously, mouse and keyboard had 40% less recoil than controller. This change brings mouse and keyboard closer to the controller. Affects these weapon archetypes: auto, scout, pulse, submachine gun, handgun, and machine gun. So it looks like auto, scout, pulse, submachine gun, hand cannon. So that's a lot of primaries. I don't see sidearms on there. And I'm not even gonna rack my brain right here. I haven't even logged into Destiny yet, so I can't even think of the weapons. Fix certain exotic weapons losing their buff when pulling out a ghost shell. Thank God. Ace of Spades, Starbot, and a Hawk Moon. Final round only. Oh, man. So I don't pull out my ghost before then. I wonder if I could pull out my ghost after I put my the gun away. Duality. Increases damage fall off distance by 1.25 meters in both hipfire and aiming down sights. Reduce maximum buff stacks from 7 to 5. Each stack now grants more of a damage bonus. Extended buff duration slightly. I'm glad to see duality get increased. I thought it was... I like how Bungie's going through with weapons, and they're slightly doing like two things at once, and I believe it started... When did this start? I think it started with Devil's Ruin, the hybrid sidearm fusion, and now we had duality come out, and if there was anything else before or in between those two, I can't really remember, but I do like weapons doing multiple things at once. I think that's very fun. I think that leads up to a lot of options for players. What I would like to see, though, is, you know, again, better map design to allow more players to access different types of weapons and different styles of abilities, so on and so forth. And we should be expecting to hear news about the other subclasses and the older subclasses getting their revamps. That should happen probably sometime this season, either we're going to get a glimpse into the future, or it's just going to be, hey guys, we are working to get those ready for the next big DLC by the end of the year. I really expect that to happen. Updated power bands: power floor 1100, soft cap 1250, powerful cap 1300, pinnacle cap 1310. One below the soft cap, increase the upper limit of power upgrades dropped from weekly powerful sources. Okay, so you're going to hit the soft cap faster. Nice. Increased XP rewards from Last Wish raid to match Guarding of Salvation's Deepstone Crypt. And fix an issue where the power preview for some vendor items did not match the power of the gear received. And then player identity, titles, and seals, and all that. And I'll let you guys look over that yourself. Platforms and systems. PC switching teams during a private match has been moved to shift key. Remove the notification and sound option that didn't do anything. Remove voice chat volume slider setting that didn't do anything. Lol. Alright, general. Let's see. Season of The worthy Eververse items have been added as potential drops, right? Spider now sells Glacial, Starwort, and Spinfoil. Spider and the Gunsmith no longer accept Phase Glass Needle, Alkane Dust, Simulation Seed, or Seraphite. Okay, so I guess I just get rid of those or something. Remaining can be turned into Spider for a quantity of Glimmer. Okay. Starter gear has been removed from Soraya. Collection version of Generous Ghost Shell now has full Ghost Mod and Masterwork functionality. Risk Runner has been removed from Zer's vendor pool as it tied to a new light quest. Okay. Legendary, hopefully you guys got this, or if you haven't now, you need to go get it. Legendary increments can no longer be claimed from the Season Pass rewards when inventory and postmasters are both full. Alright. Wrathborn Hunt Trail improved to better support color blindness. Fix an issue where players could sometimes receive no reward from Dreaming City weekly bounties and Shattered Throne encounters. Fixing this required the removal of very rare fixed roll drops from the Dreaming City Scout Rifles, Sniper Rifles, and localization. Permanent recast Spanish-Mexican voice for the ghost. Permanently replace. Temporarily recast Polish Zavala, Russian Ghost, and Brazilian Osiris voice actors. We intend to return to the original cast as soon as possible, chosen by sound-alike actors. I wonder why. I wonder why they temporarily replaced them and just didn't put them in. Maybe they couldn't get them to record. Anyway, that's going to be it. We're going to go ahead and drop that right here. Now, there was a lot to go over. I seen a clip, and I don't know how crazy it is, but I seen a clip where it looked like Stasis got a fragment this season. I don't know who. But there's a fragment where you can eat your grenade, kind of like the little Arc Soul buddies that Stormcallers could get. Or with the gauntlets, you can eat your grenade and place a little ice turret down that would slow and freeze enemies. And I seen a little clip of just like, I really hope people were hacking. I'm like, bro, please tell me this is a hack. Because that didn't look like anything anyone wanted, number one. Number two, the artifact did show that there were two things where Bungie's aware of the issues and concerns with 3-peaking and, players not liking Stasis. I personally enjoy Stasis. It does need to be tweaked, but again, I think the foundation of map design that play better with game modes, that are balanced with the game modes intended, and then elimination style game mode needs to be tweaked where they need some bigger maps, and on those bigger maps, 2 to 3 random overtime zones. Like, you don't know where the fight's going to be, so you can't be over here with your shotgun at where shotguns are really good and fusion rifles are really good, and then boom, capture zone shows up in the middle of open nowhere, and it's pulse rifles, scout rifles, auto rifles, and up that are going to be playing. And I think that's where the foundation, you change that foundation, you see less problems with Stasis. You don't have to worry about getting spammed. It's a little bit of RNG on where you need to have the fight, but at least people can kind of not be literally, the flag dictates exactly where you fight every single game when it comes to maps. Most teams that can rush, they will rush and they will look for it, but a lot of times when you're fighting for overtime, the flag, or when you're fighting elimination trials, the flag is just going to dictate where you go. It's just going to say, hey, this is the most important part of the map. If you don't fight around me, you're going to be at a disadvantage. And because you're fighting around me, you must use weapons that are going to be powerful in their range for this area. And if everything's close range, that's all you're going to see. You're going to see ability spams, hunters jumping in, shatter dive, glacial nades, titans flying in with melees, all that good nonsense that people don't like. So again, I think the foundation of the game needs to go back to maps being made specifically for the game mode, and elimination needs to evolve, trials needs to evolve, and countdown needs to come back. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Super appreciate it. Thumb up, comment, all that good stuff. Subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.